Welcome back, guys. We got the young OG Twizzy on top now,
Yo.
and the real OG Rich on the bottom. But we're back at it. State of Collectivity Part 2, Part B. Twizzy's back from his hiatus, doing his adult stuff, care of his family, his homeowner stuff. You know what I'm saying? It takes a little time. And Rich is just doing his thing over there. I think he's taking a nap right now, but figure it out. So we ended off last I guess you would call it session or series, right? Last part of the series, last part of the session. We talk about emotional intelligence. We talk about the detriment of social media. We're gonna go into that too, but I forgot a conversation I was having with Twiz the other day. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about relationships, right? So relationships are a big part of social workers and psychologists, right? Appropriate relationships. And one of the things that me and Twiz are talking about is you think it, and this is the question I'm gonna ask you, you think people know or don't know that some of the relationships you have are based off solely negative vices that you have? For example, people who smoke marijuana and their friends are only people who smoke weed, right? Or people who drink and their friends are only people who drink. Of course, there's other vices out there that our audience can make an assumption what it is. But that's the question. Do you think people know that their relationship is solely based on that? Or you think they're totally blind to the fact that if they remove this vice, there would be no relationship at all
there? I think it's 50-50. I think half of the people do realize, but they want to hold on to that vice. Or sometimes they want to hold on to that. They want to hold on to that vice for themselves because of what it does for them. And then sometimes they want to hold on to that person, so they'll hold on to that vice. But the other half of the coin, or the other side of the coin, is there are some people that are completely oblivious. They're so caught up in whatever it is that they're trying to do to get to their destination. Whatever their euphoric state is, whatever they use to get there. I'm not going to pick one. You can pick your own. And they don't realize it. They think that some people, it becomes so ingrained. Like for example, I know a woman who drank a lot and for a very long time. Never did it occur to her that she was an alcoholic or the people around her were alcoholics. They were just her friends and they were doing what they normally do, just hanging out. You know what I mean? So for people like that, they don't really, this is just a way of life to them. They don't really realize it. So that's the other side of the coin. They don't get it, or rather they don't get it, or they don't understand it because there's nothing out of ordinary to them. You know, that's how I look at it.
What do you think, Rich?
That's the same thing. I think a lot of people, the vices for them, I think that having a social life that comes with that vice is what they keeps them with those.
You're cutting out, Rich. You're cutting out.
I don't know.
Oh, there you go. You're back. You're back. You're still cutting out, brother. All right. Well, when you cut back in, we'll let you know. So on that aspect, I was thinking to it. We can talk. We're adults, and the way we discuss something isn't. What's the word I'm looking for? Isn't distasteful, right? So assessing to it, I had a friend who was dating someone, and you would talk to me about that she's only with this guy for sexual relations. And I told him, like, what is that the relationship you want? Like, do you want to be with someone who you only enjoy having sex with them? Because once you remove that, then what? What happens when you guys get older?
Yeah, what's left?
Be friends or trust this person first. But this friend chose to just stay with the person. We don't talk anymore, but I'm always curious because I just feel, especially when you're in romantic relationships, I think people should, in theory, be friends first. But, your common ground first, and then the sexual relationship should come about. I think people are too worried about the sexual relationship than not the actual relationship. And that goes to friends too. Like, just because someone has a vice that you do doesn't mean like you're automatically best friends. Should be able to do a plethora of things, like, but on that end, I was just curious because you brought that up the other day to his And unfortunately, a lot of our family members kind of have vices where, you know, I'm always curious because people won't invite me places because I don't do any of that stuff. And I think it's curious, like some of the stuff I do, there's more positive. And you talked about that earlier, right? So some of the positive stuff I do, they're kind of unwilling to do because they don't typically do that. But that's just interesting to me, Rich, when you were out, we were talking about relationship bonding and forming. When you're in romantic relationships, a lot of people place such precedence on the sexual part of it, but we don't place the precedence on the things that are going to make your relationship endure over a long period of time, like, being a friend and communicating well. And then when we place, the sexuality in it, as the relationship goes older and that kind of attraction wears off, then the relationship kind of dissipates as well. You there, Rich? Let's see. Check it. Yeah, he's back.
There we go.
Yeah.
There he is. There he is.
No, but just
interesting to me. I'm just so curious. I'm always thinking about how people's mind works and if they actually know. Like, if you take away weed from a specific group, me and Twizzy can, name multiple groups of people who smoke weed together. If you take that out, like, what do you have in common? Absolutely nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You take the drinking out, absolutely nothing, right? Yeah. And as we get older, and not Twizzy, he's still fresh. But as I get older and Rich gets older, I think we can see like our relationships start falling apart because there's no commonality anymore. And then the ones that, like, me and Rich could, it's like back in 1997. But we don't have a relationship based off anything specifically. It's just, we're friends. So like whatever it is whatever it is. Just curious as to if you think those people actually know. We have a friend who doesn't listen to this either, but he has weird parties, right? So does he know if the people at that party, if you remove that specific party that he goes to, is that person still your friend, or do you have nothing common anymore because now you don't do that activity that you do at the party?
Yeah,
I think it just goes back into like, if at a certain age, I think you start realizing that you have a specific group of people that you have around for X, Y, and Z. If you know that, what I'm saying, you're one of those people that you need to get drunk every weekend, you have a crew of people that you get drunk with. That's your drunk people. You know what I'm saying? You have your church people. They know that if I'm with this group of people, we're only talking about church and all the great things that have happened to us. Now, there are some people that are just confused and have absolutely no clue who their people are for whatever reason. They think that everybody's there for them or they're with the same people all the time. And you're right. If you take away that certain one thing that they have in common, are they still around you? Are you able to communicate with each other without that vice or that commonality? If drinking's your thing, if smoking weed is your thing, whatever the case may be, if one of you or the group of you were to stop, would you still be invited over? Are you still allowed to come to the cookout? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they still going to tell you to come through? If 9 times out of 10, probably not, because one, they're probably respecting the fact that you don't want to do this stuff anymore, or they just realize like there's nothing else that we have in common with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you open my eyes too, because vices don't have to be negative. When you think about older churches, whatever religion it is, a lot of the times, if you do something that's against their values or morals, in some religions you're shunned from that religion, right? So that's interesting to me too. Like Rich is, in theory, that's supposed to be a positive thing, right? We don't really talk about religion, but I'm just using a social system that kind of integrates the fact that if you're not falling in line with those values, then you're kind of shunned from the social circle. But that's a good point too, because if you're not sharing the same value of even something that's perceived as positive, then there's no relationship either. But
and even if we go to the negative vices, how often is it somebody's like, oh, I'm not drinking anymore, I'm not staying out late, I'm not clubbing no more. And they're like, man, this guy's changed, man. He's being different now. Like, hey, man, I'm just trying to live a little healthier. You know what I'm saying? Like, just trying to chill. And people look at you like, what's wrong with you? Why are you trying to live longer?
They're there for a good, not a long time.
You know what I'm saying? It's for real. Like, and it changes for everybody. Everybody had some point or another. I'm not gonna say everybody, but majority of people have had something that they did not like and they stopped it. And some people look at them like, why would you do that? You know, it'll happen for you at some point, hopefully, that you'll see the same thing that I saw. And you might see it for a different reason, but you may realize that you don't need to drink a gallon of gin on every other day. You know what I'm saying? That's not necessary. You should not be talking about how quick you can get over a hangover at 38, 39 years old. Like that's kind of bad that's a championship conversation to you.
Yeah.
You know,
It
Rich,
just happens
one of
to
the
people at different ages.
one of the things that really put life into perspective with me is my social medias, right? So there are certain people who will completely, you know, and I bring this before, but if anyone posts a picture of their kids, I automatically like it because kids are beautiful, number one, and you posting your kid is because you have pride in that, you know.
Yep.
If someone's any gym activity, I always like it, you know. But for me, it was interesting whenever I started jogging, and people would totally ignore that, won't even like it. You know, it's almost like like what's so wrong about being healthy? But then I'll see if I post something like if I went out, then I get 23 likes in like 5 minutes. Some of the funny parts is too, like some people will never like my pictures unless my sister's in it. So some of the creepy dudes out there, and it's so funny. There's 5 of them that never like anything, but once my sister's in it, they'll like the picture. And your liking habits on social media definitely show your personality because, like I said, without a doubt, if you put, it takes a second to like something, right? But especially with kids, and it drives me crazy that something positive, like posting your kid, and not even me, but I'll see people, you know, someone smoking weed and there's 100 likes, or someone drinking 100 likes, and then someone will post their kid and there's 2.
Yep.
How does that happen? Or somebody's jogging, right? You know, Twizzy's clan is pretty good though. Like even when he's working out, they'll always show him love. Mine's aren't like that, but
shout out to my people.
yeah, shout out to these people, man. I think that's where we get our YouTube.
They want Twizzy to live long. They probably waiting on that.
They be gassing Twizzy up like, yo, you're mad Diesel Twiz. Yo, you're killing it right now.
Yeah,
you're looking like Kevin Hart.
You gotta have the right team with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, listen, man. Even if I was a pig in a wig, if they love me, they love me, baby. That's it.
Fact. Love is love, right? Yeah, but think about that. How simple is that, guys? Like start assessing, and this is the connection that I'm trying to poke up. You know, you guys don't know. But this is the connection I'm making with emotional intelligence. Like you have to start assessing your social media behavior, because having that inability to like stuff because one's positive is horrible. Like I just think that's horrible. The Collective Thought Instagram page is my favorite to be on because I only have like-minded people and everything's so positive all the time. And that really gets me through the day. Like I'll just scroll through it and see so much positive stuff, and then I'll switch back to mine, my personal one, and it's like negative stuff where, you know, people are just some people are just not mentally healthy enough to socially via social media be productive members of social media social system, right? So that's another cog. So social system theory, that's another cog on our wheel.
Joe, you being Professor S with that answer. You be honest, man. The problem is everybody highlights negativity. Nobody wants to see positive anything. It's so easy to point out the negativity and everything that people will do. Like you get, like right now, you just posted that, you know, you finished your second jog after surgery. Somebody's gonna post like, man, your time went down. Like, really? Like, when was the last time you ran?
Yeah, facts, bro.
You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. It's like no one's gonna say, yo, good job, Joe. You know what I'm saying? Good job getting back out there pushing. You know what I'm saying? Most people won't even touch running after having a surgery. Somebody's gonna point out, like, man, it's too cold out there to be running. Why are you out there running now? Like, you should wait till it warms up so your body's like, yo, shut up. Like,
yeah.
And I hate to sound like this, and I know this, you know, but sometimes some people just need to hear it. I hope the people that need to hear this.
Sometimes you gotta put a little hot sauce on it, just a little bit.
Because some people, man, it's the same people that have the negative energy, the negative vibes, and then they're just horrible people, and sometimes it's bad to even know those people. And the fact that they can even be around, it's like, wow, I can't believe I know you and you're this negative today. Like you woke up, like you're upset about being alive at this point. I'm like, just stop it. It's not necessary. Like,
you know, the sad reality of it, guys, is, you know, and Twizzy pointed this out, like we're an educational podcast. Like we really want people to see that it's, number one, men can speak, you know, with each other about their issues. You know, young people can see that, you know, positivity. We don't curse. We never curse on the podcast, right? So all those street term and jargon that we used to use are eliminated from this conversation. But the fact of the matter is, Rich, the people who need to hear this won't hear this. And I'm okay with that. I just hope one day that someone turns it on and they can see, like, oh, that was pretty cool, But people, like-minded people, are going to watch this. Think about the people who watch this, and I'm sorry, guys. My twin sister, right? Very successful, very independent, right? She watches it. Our Dominican cousin, Nancy, right? Has a family, has a job, right? Damien now, right? He goes to work, right? So he says, while I'm working, I'll just pop it on. So the like-minded people will listen to this. And unfortunately, the ones who need to hear this won't. But maybe, my hopes is, and again, I always, sociology in general just gets me, my juices flowing. But I hope that it's almost like a social learning process where if someone who's positive, like, check this out, or let me give you a quick snippet. And maybe they can, in theory, because all it takes is a switch, right? Whether you're losing weight, whether you're jogging, one day, think about Twizzy, and Twizzy's good. He's good. He doesn't get offended. But think about Twizzy with his dips, man, or his push-ups. Those were the big atrocious, right?
But it
But
came a long way.
Nah, they were bad.
He switched, bro. He's out there crushing it, man. I'll super that guy. He got the form on. He got the 15 clip. But it just takes that switch. But like you said, Rich, I was thinking about, we were having a conversation about a mutual friend who's not happy ever, and they have a house over their head, and they've always had help with jobs, and their parents loved them and bought them cars, but even till this day they still can't be happy. And it's like, what are you still trying to get? Like, your life is good.
I'm gonna be, I think a lot of that comes from, like, and this is just from my personal experience of dealing with people from all over. I think a lot of people just don't know what independence is, so they don't appreciate anything. When you have to work for anything, when you have to work to get where you're at, you really appreciate anything that's there, like, because at any given moment it can be taken away from you. And that's the scariest thing in the world, having knowing that you worked hard for something that can be snatched from you. When everything's given to you, you don't appreciate anything. You just it's like, cool, thanks. And if somebody takes it, it's like, oh well, somebody else might give me another one. It's like your first time you get your first job, you buy your first pair of sneakers that you would never been able to get somebody else to pay for. Unless Twizzy at Foot Locker, and he's going to give you that crazy discount. But in other words, the first time you buy your first pair of sneakers, you like, yo, I can't scuff these. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to do anything with them. No creases. You're going to make sure they're clean. First time you buy your first car, like, you make sure, like, it's taken care of. Like, you don't want anything to go wrong with that. Like, and some people just don't get it. They can be in their 40s and still just don't get it because they're so used to everything being given to them that they can't appreciate anything. Like you said, you have a roof over your head, you have food to eat. Like, there are people that are struggling just to make those two things happen on a daily basis. There's somebody being evicted at this moment right now. Like, they know Sunday's the last night they're sleeping in that bed. They know that somebody's knocking on their door. Everything's being taken out of that house, that apartment, whatever the case may be. And they don't have nowhere to go from there. Yeah. And there's somebody complaining that my bed's not comfortable, or my house is not big enough, or I'm tired of living here. I'm tired. These people get on my nerves. I'm like, yo, you bugging. Like, appreciate what you have. Not saying that you can't want more, but stop being so unappreciative of what you do have, because at the end of the day, there are people that would love to be in positions that a lot of us know, people that complain about their lives all day. We all have mutual friends that would love to be in situations that other people are complaining about. And they probably look at them the same way, like, why are you complaining?
Yep. It's funny because, where I work, people haven't had the ability to have jobs that were horrible, and you still had to do them because that's the only job that you could get at that time. So, a place where people are complaining every day and they get mad. I'm like, I can't agree with you. This is a great job for what we do and we get paid for. So I can't agree with you with that. But I want to say, Rich, so me and Twizzy are parents, and Twizzy's a parent, one of the things that I said it hundreds of times, one of the things I'm proud of is being a good dad. And my theory is, and Twizzy's kind of like that too, my theory is to be a million times better parent than my mother and father were to me. So I tend to spoil Joey. I don't want him to need or want things or
and
stuff. And Twizzy's like that too. Now, do you think that's a bad thing, Rich, or what's up? Since you know you
I'll say
yeah.
I agree with wanting to spoil your kids. The only thing I could ever disagree with is anybody encouraging their child to become brats. Um, I think that any parent would spoil their child. That's the beauty of being a parent. You want to make sure that they have everything they need and majority of their wants. But brats are a different breed of people. I hate brats. I don't care if it's a child or an adult. They disgust me because those are the people that don't appreciate anything.
Mm.
A spoiled kid is appreciative.
I'm thinking about your brother too, Rich, and and this is why we kind of started the podcast to kind of assess how people attain those resiliency skills. And my brother, who we could talk about him because he's never gonna watch one episode.
He might.
Nah, he'll never do it. But if he does, and I'm still on the same $100 if by next week you watch this episode. Twizzy, that's Twizzy's boy,
Hey,
that's Twizzy's right hand man, and that was cool. And that's how I knew Twizzy. But so one of the things about me is I like relationships, that don't have an obligation for something. Because in the rare and you two are probably the only two people that I ever asked for help for, ever. In the rare occasion I need help, I want it to be like, wow, Joe's asking me for help, then something's up. But my brother, and he just still hasn't figured it out, texts me knowing I'm working, and is like, yo, you think you'd take me somewhere? And I'm like, I'm working. Oh, you can't get out of work? My car, I don't have nobody to take me to go and can you lend me money for this? And I'm like, what is going on? So I don't know how at his age now that he's going to have the ability to be a responsible adult. And that scares me because he's not my child. And I've always taken care of him, you guys know, as best I could. But I can't, since he's not my child directly and he's a man now, I can't help him if, God forbid, anything, if he's really low. Because at this point, you have to have the ability to help yourself.
Yep.
Do you guys agree with that? Disagree with that?
I don't. You know what? Your last sentence said it all. Having to do with yourself. That's that independence. Like the hardest thing for an adult to be able to do, whether you're old or young adult, is having to figure it out on your own. When you don't have somebody to rely on. When you say, "Hey, I need to get to X, Y, and Z. Can you give me a ride?" No, I can't. Do you still need to get there? And how are you going to do that for yourself? Because now you don't have any, and you can't get mad that somebody can't do something for you. That you're not their responsibility. They're not your responsibility. Otherwise, they would be there at the drop of a dime. They could be there, but no one owes you anything as an adult. And I think a lot of times that so many people are dependent on people that they don't ever think that, what if this person isn't here? What am I going to do?
And Twizzy's family does it too. It bothers me that they almost think like you have to help them. Like just because I helped you before doesn't mean I'm always gonna. And it's not my obligation to do so. That's my thing too. Like I said, my relationships that I have now, I don't want to be obligated to even talk to you. Like if me and Twizzy don't talk, that's fine. But some people are like, oh, why didn't you? Like I'm not obligated to talk to you. I'm definitely obligated to help you. I'm not obligated to pay for anything. If I choose to do so, that's out of the kindness of my heart. But don't think that now, and I think that's the biggest thing too. Don't miss a year of saying, hey, how you doing? Oh, just what's up? Hey, let's go out. Let me buy you a meal. Don't miss that and then be like, oh, can you help me? Because that's not going to work with me. Because that's, again, in the power, every relationship has a power differential, right? So in the power differential, now you're taking advantage of me where you have more power because you only use me when you need help. It says I don't need help. Now you're in power because you think I'm obligated to help you, and I'm not obligated to help you. And like Rich says, the answer is no. So as of now, the answer is no. But I don't know how people have that mind frame where you think it's okay to not to talk to people for months at a time or years at a time, but then have the audacity to be like, hey, Rich, can I borrow this? Or can you help me with this? Or hey, Twizzy, can you take me here? And no, I don't have any gas money. But where I'm going, I'm gonna, buy for something anyway, and then you're like, well, why didn't you just give me the money for that? But I don't know where that comes from. I don't have it. None of you have it.
No, I'm telling you.
You know what that's called? It's called a sense of entitlement. And I use that phrase a lot.
But now think about like our social circle, your friends, your family, I know most of them, even mine, like how are you entitled to anything that me or you had if me and you had nothing.
No, but you got to look though. The fact that you guys did what you did to get to where you're at, people feel that I'm part. You owe. I don't. You don't owe me anything, but you should feel obligated to help me because you did what you had to do. Why would you not bring me with you? And that's the problem.
And I was
People
around. I was
realize,
standing around. I saw that.
It's like I saw what you had to do. I know you work those late nights. I understand those long-term papers that you had to write. I get it. But let me hold something real quick. They don't understand, like, it doesn't work like that. You witnessing what I had to do to get here doesn't entitle you to anything that I have. I had to get to where I'm at, or I would be next to you asking the next person to help us out.
Yep. It's funny because again, like just in the social aspect and how we were talking about it, and everything comes full circle. When you're in the same group and you see people start to elevate, and again, people have that sense of entitlement. So I don't really, some people feel I don't have to put in those late nights. He's putting it for me. He's got it. So it's not, I'm not bothering him to give me a ride. He has a car. He has money for gas. He can take me. It's not going to bother him. What is he going to lose? A couple hours of work? Oh, he has PTO. He doesn't have anything better to do. I'm the one that's out hanging out. You know, I'm the one that didn't get much sleep last night, man. I was out chilling and doing whatever else. A lot of people don't think about that sense of entitlement. And again, when you're in this social media era, where, you know, like they say, it's smartphones and dumb people, nobody has a real grip or grasp on reality, and they don't really understand that. And if you emulated the things that you saw other people do, you'd be in some of the positions that other people are in. But a lot of people don't want to do that. Social media dictates that we're all independent thinkers, and we're all millionaires, and we're all models, and we're all on a yacht, and we're all in Miami. But little do people understand is that what did the Red Hot Chili Peppers say? They said I forget the phrase, but
why would me and Rich know about the Red Hot Chili Peppers, man?
Dang, I was trying to figure that out.
You guys are cultured. You should know what they're out. But
I know who they are. But
saying,
come on.
They were saying that that like something, I forgot what the phrase was or what the lyric was, but something was made in a Hollywood basement. So to say, like, a lot of stuff is a facade. A lot of things that people post are facades. A lot of things. So for you to have that sense of entitlement based off of something that you've never tried to emulate, or something that you saw somebody else doing, and you want to try to obtain that by your own means, which is an incorrect means of to obtain what you know, or to achieve your goal, completely just shows you full circle how nobody's really paying attention, and how their social mental state needs help.
Now
it's a social disconnect.
So one of the I worked at a hospital for years. So and I was a male counselor with females for 9 years straight. But one of the things that I taught them was that every relationship has a power differential, number one, that love initially started as manipulation. So all relationships manipulate each other like that, even us, right? You know, and, you know, our positive reinforcement is really manipulation, right? Now think about the people who ask us for rides to us, the people who need us. Isn't that them manipulating us because they know they can take advantage of our kindness?
Yeah, actually.
Nah, but
because I never.
I think in a way though, it all depends on the person. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference between let me get a ride to the gas station or the store so I get a pack of cigarettes, as opposed to let me get a ride to the bus stop, or let me get a ride to work. You know, my car's out of my car's out of commission. You know what I'm saying? That person that's like, yo, let me get a ride around the block. Like, I'm not your personal chauffeur. I'm not driving you to your girl's house. You might as well be single if you can't get over there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think that it all depends on the person in the relationship, you know. But once again, people feel that they're entitled to being able to ask you, and that you're obligated to give them what they're asking. And that's a problem. I think sometimes those relationships have to put that fence up, that brick wall, that put that moat, put that moat around you. You know, sometimes you gotta put that dragon in the tower and let them know if you can slay the dragon, you might be able to get. They'll be able to ask me a question.
Put that dragon in the tower. Look at this guy. I love it.
Full of wisdom. But I agree. I agree with what you're saying. But I think Joe still. I think what Joe says, what you said, complements what Joe says, because it's still a form of manipulation. That's why I smiled so hard, because I'm like, that does make sense. Even like you said, like reinforcement and positive reinforcement, like it's like positive manipulation, because although they're going to work, they're still utilizing your service in order to achieve their goal. So it's a manipulation. It's like, listen, well, I got to go to work. Do you mind giving me a ride? And you're more apt to help that person because it's positive. So it's a positive manipulation, as opposed to, yo, I'm going to the strip club with my homies. We're gonna get lit. You know what I mean? And you're like, well, I don't really want to do that. Or you could have a good time too if you come hang out with us, or whatever the case may be. So
think about parenting, man. Like I had a very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna just use the words interesting. I used to have this coworker who was very interesting, but one of the things that I abide by, it was the only thing that ever made sense to me. She was a mental health counselor, and she said, "Say no to your kids as little as possible." So small stuff. If your kid's in the snow and has a full snowsuit on, and he says, "Can I jump in the snow?" Of course, right? But some people automatically, no, you can't do that. If your kid has rain boots on and wants to jump in the rain, then jump in puddles by all means. But with that being said, think about parenting, Twiz. We talk about, I tell my child I love him as much as possible, so he knows, that's manipulation. I tell him, great job. The kids I coach, excellent job. It's a form of manipulation. But with manipulation, manipulation is a almost a derogatory term, but there's positivity too, because we have to manipulate ourselves. We have to manipulate each other. Think about when we were going to the gym, and I'm like, oh, Twiz is killing it today. That's a form of manipulation. But that Rich kind of pointed out that made a lot of sense to me is, if you're gonna ask help for me to help yourself, then let's do it. I'm all for it. But if you're gonna ask help for me that does nothing for you at all and is only to solely benefit you, then I can't help you with that. And I think a lot from that kind of the people who ask me for help, especially family, which bothers me the most, is that family do this the most. It's like it's only self-serving favors. Now, if you're like, hey, can you help me I want to cook for everybody in the family, that's something different. But if you're like, hey, I want to do this for me because me and I need this and I, then I don't want to help you at all.
Exactly. And that's what I was getting at. Is like, I don't have a problem helping you as long as like I know it's something in the long run that's really benefiting you in the long run. If it's something I don't even agree with, don't ask. The answer is that's an easy no.
Think about the vices, all this stuff, and that's why, socialization and sociology is so fun to me, because it all comes back to the same thing. We were just talking about that, right?
Yep. Full circle.
It's a circle, right? It all comes back, right? But that goes back to emotional intelligence too, right? These people don't have the emotional intelligence. But again, and sometimes I look at it negatively, but I just feel like it's manipulation, because you are taking advantages. 90% of the times I'm going to say yes, because if I have it, you have it, right? I tell Twiz all the time. I told him the other night, come out. I don't have any money. Bro, I got you. I'm not asking you because I need you. I'm saying I got you. Especially because he needed a day off, because he's a hardworking young man.
Appreciate it.
But again, and that I gotta find a spot to throw this in. Dramaturgy, right? So that's one of my favorite. In the first 2 episodes, we talked about it a lot, right? So people are always in a state of acting, right? So to their intended audience, right? They act in a manner that they think the audience wants, right? So Twizzy, who's at work, is different from Twizzy on Collective Thought, who's different from Twizzy in Regis Park, who's different from Twizzy and his whole ABM squad, but it's all different, right? All different. So we got only 2 minutes left, and again, this is the kind of conversation that should be happening. And in fact, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because this is so positive, but I don't think outside, this social system, that I don't get that anywhere. But either way, man, like I said, as we wind down, we're going to come through with more conversations, little conversations. It's okay to talk about your feelings, men. It's okay to be positive. Don't think being positive is corny. Go out there and like posts. It's okay to be positive. What do you got? Any final words, gentlemen?
Rich?
Yeah, you already know, man. People got to just, get it together. That's all I can really put out there. I don't, without without anybody taking this to heart, and I know the people that need to hear it probably won't hear it. If you got people on your team, this is what a group of people that do listen. If you have people on your team that are extremely negative, let them know, get it together, because even though they may be cool with you, like you don't want to hear their negative stories all day. Nobody feels like I'm like, yo, everybody can't be Eeyore. We need a couple of Winnie the Poohs and Piglets on these streets nowadays. I'm just saying, we just need them. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't.
This guy Rich is in his bag today, yo. Everybody need a couple of Winnie the Poohs.
Yo, we can't. Everybody can't be Eeyore. If we're all depressed, then what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? If everybody's complaining about everything going in their life, wait, what are you really doing?
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'll just say this. Something I said earlier, like life is not a fairy tale at all by any means, but dreams do come true. And if you stay persistent and consistent, you'll achieve whatever it is you're looking for.
Perfect. On that note, with 30 seconds left or whatever it is, we'll see you guys soon.